The moment she asked, "Do you still want to date me?" my throat went dry because in that second, I realized the blind date I had been tricked into was about to change the meaning of courage, love, and honesty for the rest of my life. I had been told a lie to get me there, but what I found was a truth so powerful that walking away would have been the easiest and weakest thing I could do. I never agreed to blind dates, ever. So when my best friend insisted, swearing it was just coffee and that the girl was perfect for me, I should have known something was off. He avoided eye contact, laughed too quickly and said, "Just go once. If you hate it, I'll owe you for life." I walked into the cafe irritated, already planning my escape. Then I saw her. She was sitting by the window, sunlight touching her face, hands folded calmly in her lap, and a wheelchair parked quietly beneath the table. Like a detail the world often pretends not to see, my heart skipped, not because of attraction or fear, but because I suddenly understood the trick. I almost turned around, almost, but then she looked up and smiled, and that smile held something braver than anything I'd seen in a long time. "You must be Daniel," she said, voice steady, eyes honest. "I'm Emma. Before you sit down, there's something you should know." I sat anyway, because leaving at that point would have made me the kind of man I never wanted to be. She told me early, no dramatic build-up, no tears. "A car accident 3 years ago, a drunk driver, a broken spine. I can't walk," she said simply. "And I understand if that's not something you signed up for." Her hands trembled just a little, betraying the calm in her voice. I felt anger rise, but not at her, at my friend, at myself, at a society that treats honesty like a burden. We talked for hours, about music, about childhood dreams, about the awkward silence that follows pity. She laughed easily, but I noticed how carefully she watched my reactions, like she was measuring every word for disappointment. When the date ended, she looked at me again, softer this time. "You don't owe me a second date," she said. I just didn't want to start with a lie. I went home confused, restless, haunted by that sentence. I told myself I was being kind when I texted her later. The truth was I wanted to see her again. The second time wasn't coffee. It was a park, open air, no walls to hide behind. People stared. Some whispered. One kid asked his mother why Emma couldn't walk. She answered loudly, "Because not everyone is the same." Emma smiled at the kid and told him about racing wheelchairs like race cars. I realized then that she wasn't waiting for the world to accept her. She was already living in it. But the challenges came quickly. Restaurants with stares, friends who spoke too slowly to her, as if paralysis affected intelligence. My own doubts creeping in late at night. Was I strong enough? Was I doing this because I felt sorry for her, or because I actually cared? On our fourth date, she stopped rolling beside me and looked straight up. "I need to ask you something," she said. "And I need the truth." That's when she asked it. "Do you still want to date me?" Not because she didn't know the answer, but because she'd been disappointed before. I didn't answer right away, and that silence hurt her more than any lie. I saw it in her eyes. I took a breath and said, "Yes, but I'm scared." She nodded. "Good, me too. That means it's real." Loving Emma wasn't heroic. It was uncomfortable. It forced me to confront my own limits, my own selfishness. I messed up. I forgot ramps mattered. I got defensive when strangers praised me like I was doing charity. Once, during an argument, I said something cruel without meaning to, something about how hard things were. She didn't cry. She just said, "Imagine living it." That silence was heavier than anger. I apologized, not with words, but with change. I learned. I listened. I stopped trying to be strong all the time and started being present. The world didn't get easier, but we got better at facing it together. Months later, we went back to that same cafe. Same window, same table. Emma reached across and took my hand. "You weren't tricked," she said softly. "You were invited." I realized then that the blind date hadn't been about seeing her. It had been about seeing myself. And the question she asked that day wasn't a test. It was an opening, an invitation to choose love without conditions, to stay even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because real love doesn't ask if you can walk beside someone. It asks if you're willing to move forward together, no matter how